Okay, so I became a millionaire by the time that I was 17 years old, and for a while I thought I had it all figured out. I had more money than most adults will ever see, I had multiple businesses, and I just had complete freedom over everything that I did. Then I had a realization that changed everything. Everything I had worked for could literally disappear tomorrow. Not because I wasn't good at what I do, but because the way I was building was never designed for any of it to last. It was essentially designed to collect as much cash as possible today, and I had no long-term plan in sight. There was no real structure. It was just based on revenue. And if you're running a successful online business right now, whether it's an agency, a coaching offer, info products, whatever it is, you have the same exact problem. You just don't know it yet. I want you to think about it. If you're making, your 50K or 100K months and life feels great, but what then happens in 5 years? Well, you probably have no idea. And the reason why you have no idea is because there was never a plan to begin with. There's always just the next launch, the next tactic on how to acquire more customers using ads and this and that. And this is why exactly everyone in the space is constantly trying to escape what they built, because they think the grass is greener on the other side, that there's more longevity in these other things. Info guys want to jump into SaaS. Agency owners, they want to do coaching. SaaS guys want to sell info. Everyone is essentially jumping ship because deep down they know that what they built isn't a real business. It is simply a cash machine with an expiration date. And here's what I mean by a real business. A real business is something that you can sell for 8 or 9 figures. It's something where you can bring in executives to operate in. Something that essentially runs in compounds for decades with or without you. So what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to walk you through exactly how I'm planning to go from where I am now, which is I've made $20 million for my clients. I'm a millionaire in profit, by the way, in personal profit, to then building a $1 billion company in the next couple decades, because I'm not trying to go for a 2-year career run and be everywhere on everybody's For You page and then disappear. No, I'm trying to build something for the next 30, 40 plus years and actually have longevity in the game. Now, before I show you the plan, you need to answer one question first. What is actually your goal? And I don't mean a revenue number, because most people's goals is just a number. Oh, I'm trying to get to 100K, 500K a month, $1 million a year, whatever, or $1 million a month. Okay, cool. Then what? Because you'll hit it, you'll feel good for a week, and then you're stuck there chasing the next number. It's like the cycle that everybody does. And eventually you will burn out, because money is the only reason you are showing up. You know how many people who are in the business that they're in right now, and please comment down below if this is you. You're literally only running the business model that you're running right now because it's simply getting you money, because you're good at making people's results or getting money, and that's the only reason why you're running it. If the only reason that you wake up and work is for money, you will not last. I promise you that. You will burn out, you'll make the money, and then you'll sit there going, okay, now what? What do I do? And that's when your business starts dying, because you have no reason to keep improving your product, your service, your skills, yourself. You as a person, as an entrepreneur, you have no reason to improve. So you need a reason to work that goes just beyond the money, a real purpose. What's the actual impact that you want to have on people? Because here's what I learned. Every single entrepreneur who has built something that lasted, something that's worth billions and billions of dollars, they weren't chasing the revenue, they were chasing impact. The money is just what happens when you impact enough people. So I want you to figure out also your monetary number, because you need to know exactly how much money you actually need. So you don't just, if let's just say what you truly need to be super happy and to live your dream lifestyle is only maybe like 10 million a year. I don't want you going to chase $1 billion a year type of business, right? It just doesn't make sense. And so after you found that, I want you to also find the thing that keeps you going after you hit that number, because eventually you will hit that number. I definitely believe that there's so many people out there that will hit their numbers that they want to achieve. Eventually there has to be something that keeps pushing you forward and keeps making you go and improve yourself. And essentially once you have those 2 things, that is essentially your foundation. Without that, nothing else I'm about to show you even matters. Okay, so now that you have your foundation, let me show you how I'm actually thinking about going and building to $1 billion. Okay, so on one side we have impact. As we said, impact is very important. And on the other side we have revenue. Now, one major important thing that you need to understand is that impact is equal to revenue. Everyone in this space thinks about how do I make more revenue or how to make more money. It's the complete wrong question. The question that you need to ask is how do I create more impact? Because essentially revenue is just a byproduct of your impact. The more people that you help, the more lives that you change, the more money flows back to you. It's really that simple. And so right now, if you're making 50K a month, you're probably impacting, a few hundred people, right? If you're trying to get to, let's just say 500K a month, right? Then you probably need to impact a few thousand people, right? If you're trying to get to, let's just say, billions of dollars in your company company is worth billions of dollars, then you probably need to impact millions of people. So the question isn't, hey, like, what's my next funnel or what's my next tactic to acquire more customers or close more leads? The question is essentially, how do I 10x my impact? Because everyone's trying to make this number bigger, when in reality, the only real way for you to make this number bigger is by increasing your impact, right? Think about it. The last time that you went from making X amount to X amount, it's probably because the impact that you had on someone's particular business was a lot higher. And so there's two ways to do this, right? And this is like kind of, I'm not going to really go into the details of this, but it's either you have surface level impact. So here, I'll draw this here, surface level impact on more people. So you have to have a higher number, or you have deep levels of impact, right? And you have to get a fewer amount of people to go ahead and impact. And so you need to kind of understand this. It's like, would you rather help a lot more people out with surface level impact or deep levels of impact for a few people? And for most of you guys watching this, you're probably working with like a few businesses and you're hoping that this is deep levels of impact. When in reality, I'll tell you this, right? For you to really reach that next level, you're going to have to figure out how you can get these deep levels of impact, not just for 10 people, because 10 people is basically nothing. Like when you look at the grand scheme of things, how you're truly changing the world, 10 people, 10 businesses that you're helping is really nothing. And so you're gonna have to figure out how to essentially, like, if you're trying to get to like the multi-million-dollar level, you're gonna have to figure out how you can basically integrate all of these things to, you know, hundreds of people, right? So the same impact that you're giving right now to 10 businesses or 20 businesses, however many people that you're working with, you're gonna have to figure out how you're gonna basically do that for, you know, hundreds of businesses or even thousands of businesses, right? And, you know, that's for another video. I'm not really gonna go into details because it just doesn't make sense for this video. And so with that being said, this brings us on to the actual system on how do you actually increase your impact, because impact doesn't scale if you are the bottleneck. So here's how I actually think about scaling a business to this kind of level where you're impacting thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people's lives. Because there's only three things that any business does. You essentially acquire customers, you sell to them, and then you deliver. That's it. It's basically acquisition, sales, and delivery. And so right now, for most of you, you are all three of these things. You're doing the acquisition, you're responsible for the sales, and you're responsible for the delivery. You know, whether you're running outreach or you're filming all the content yourself, you're coming up with all the ideas, you're on the sales calls, and you're delivering the service or your product, right? This is why you're stuck. You essentially can't scale yourself. You can't just clone yourself, no matter how many AI guys come out there and be like, clone yourself in 10 minutes, woo, whatever, right? Essentially, there's a ceiling on your time, and there's also a ceiling on your energy, and you'll eventually hit that ceiling and you're either burn out or your revenue is just going to flatline. It's going to go like whoop, and then it's just going to flatline, right? A lot of people, like, that's how their Stripe looks like right now. Your Stripe is like flatlining, right? You've been at, you know, 50K a month for the last, you know, however many months, or you've been at 100K months for the next whatever, and you just can't break through to that next level. And so in order for you to scale, I want you to essentially think about it like Clash Royale. So right now, you're essentially one troop that's being deployed, right? You're one troop that's being deployed, and you're trying to counter all these things. You're trying to kill all of these like different enemies that are there. And so what if instead you can deploy a troop specifically for acquisition? That could either be a system, a team member, an AI tool, whatever it is, right? But essentially that one troop, its whole sole responsibility is to go ahead and get customers for you. And then you have another troop, right? Another troop for specifically for sales, and then another one for service delivery. In each one of these troops, you know exactly how much resources it costs. And so the reason behind it, right, is once you know exactly how much resources each troop requires and how to get more troops on demand, you're able to then scale your system. So I like to think of these things as clusters. So if we take acquisition as an example, if let's just say right now, the way that you acquire customers is through paid ads. Let's just say your time is limited on how many ads that you can go ahead and actually run, right? So let's just say it takes you 10 hours a week to script these ads, write them, whatever, film them, edit them, all that stuff. So it takes you 10 hours. So what if instead you're able to then have a cluster of team members or AI systems that you know exactly, it's like, okay, if I put in, you know, X amount of dollars and X amount of hours, right? That is less than 10 hours, right? And it's obviously less than how much it would cost me in time times money in order of dollars. If I'm putting in these two things, right, I'm getting, you know, let's just say a 0.9x multiple of if I was just running the paid ads myself. So I'm not really 100% there where if I was just doing the thing myself, but I know exactly if I invest this many resources, I'm getting this much performance out of these things, right? So if you know this, then what you're able to do is essentially look at the big picture and be like, okay, well, I'm going to allocate X amount of resources towards acquisition. So you're able to scale it in clusters. So you'll have like the copywriter. So you have the copywriter, and then you have the media buyer, and then you have the graphic designer. So you have these three people in terms of clusters. And so you're able to hire them. So all of these guys are one cluster, and then you can go ahead and copy it again, right? And then you can go ahead and copy it again, and you can copy it again. And so you're able to copy these clusters, you're able to scale. So the same thing with your sales and same thing with your delivery. You just break it down into what are the resources resources that I need in order to accomplish this. And then I know exactly what is the output that I'm trying to get. And so from there, if you're getting 100 new customers, or you're getting 100 new, leads, or you hired 100 new people, you know exactly that they can close deals, or you know exactly what it is that they need to do. You know how many of them that you need in order to go ahead and accomplish this thing. And so that's essentially the framework. It's your purpose, your impact, and your system. So that's how you build a real business that isn't a cash machine that dies in 2 years. It's a business that compounds for decades. Now, there's a whole other layer to this, which is what do you actually do with the money once it's flowing? So how do you position your cash flow? Where do you deploy capital? Where do you invest depending on your goals and your timeline, right? That's a whole separate video. If you guys are interested in that, comment down below and I'll make sure to talk about this. But just so you kind of know, the way that you handle your money is just as important as how you make it. Now, me being a millionaire at 18, I know that I'm just getting started, because unlike all these doofs on short form, I'm not chasing a fancy car or a number to tell you I made $300,000 last month with my info product business, whatever. I'm focused on building something for at least the next 30 years. It's going to last the next 30, 40, 50 plus years. And so if you're watching this and you're making 50, 100 grand a month, right, thinking that you've got it all figured out, I'm telling you right now, you're just getting started too. You're just like me. You're just getting started. There's a whole nother bigger world out there that is bigger than our online money sort of bubble. And the question is whether you're actually going to build something that lasts and you're going to exit out of this bubble, or you're going to be someone who builds something that disappears in the next 2 years like everybody else who disappeared before us. The choice is yours.